Stop slacking off and get to those insurance denials. Sure thing, boss, by user Mimicking. This happened a few years ago, but was reminded of it because a lot of it is becoming public. Insurance companies are not your friends and will do everything they can do save money, including not paying for your medically necessary services. There's a lot of news coming out about insurance companies using algorithms to deny claims and doctors signing off on them. Before algorithms, they would have minimum wage employees reading over these claims for the doctors instead. That's what I was. I was 19 years old, working for insurance companies denying claims. I would be the first line for doctors to call and give their case for why they thought they needed a service or medicine. For some reason, 19-year-old me with no medical experience was allowed to tell these doctors that services were not needed medically. This job was the easiest, yet most miserable job experience I ever had. I was only able to last a few months there. During my last 2 weeks, I was really slacking off. I was just so burned out. I couldn't stand denying yet another case where someone needed meds and the insurance company didn't want to pay for them. I was reprimanded for not working hard enough and getting processed. Insert malicious compliance. I worked faster than I ever had before. That's because I approved every case that came before. Every doctor I spoke to, I just gave them approval. Every prior authorization I saw was approved. During my first week, I did this once and was told to not do it again because I have to follow company guidelines, but I didn't care at this point. I probably was able to approve 50+ cases before I quit. I hope it made a difference to those people. Fuck health insurance companies. Screw your HOA and its ridiculous rules, by user 3-2-1 backup. Back in high school, I was all about my car. Don't get me wrong, it was a rolling POS, but it was my car. It had a trade-in value of maybe $5, but it was my car. I was learning how to take care of it, by which I mean I found where the dipstick was and how to pull it. I hadn't yet moved on to tire inflation. One step at a time. One day after school I drove over to my friend's place. We jump out, pop the hood, pull the dipstick, check the oil and it was fine, so put the hood back down. I had no idea what an HOA was nor what it meant. I was just a happy ignorant teenager eager to demonstrate how responsible I was with my wheels. A few days go by and we're hanging out at my friend's place when his mom comes home. She starts giving us the business in that I'm annoyed but trying not to be voice about a warning she received from the HOA regarding repairing cars in your driveway, complete with a photo of my POS with the hood up. Really, she was being pretty good, though clearly annoyed. We explained that we weren't repairing anything, that I was just checking the oil level, and didn't even need any tools. Picture just had the hood up. She softened quite a bit, and the focus of her annoyance shifted from us to the HOA, since it's entirely reasonable for anyone to check the level of oil in a car. She finds her copy of the HOA rules and we all read them together. Sure enough, there's a bylaw that says you can't repair a car in the driveway. I protest that I wasn't repairing anything, I was just checking the oil. Reading the exact rules on exactly what was forbidden sparked an idea. I look at my friend, raise an eyebrow, and say, "Fight the power. Fight the power." I propose my plan to his mom and ask for permission since she's going to have to deal with the fallout. She's on board since she thinks this is supremely stupid, and we set in motion. Cue the MC. Every day after school my friend and I drove our POS machines to his place, parked in their driveway, raised the hoods, and just looked at the engines. No tools, we weren't even near them. We didn't check the oil, we didn't so much as touch them nor wipe them down with a rag. All we did was expose them to the birds, the sky, and God above to just let them breathe. After a while I got bored, so I started setting up an easel and drawing my engine 10 minutes at a time. My friend had to one-up me, so decided he needed some tasteful artistic photos with his engine. He judged the best photos would be him laying over the engine shirtless, stroking and fake kissing it. Just absurd, over-the-top moronic high schooler stuff. Predictably the HOA was on us like stink on shit. The warnings quickly turned into fines, complete with pictures of both vehicles with their hoods up. Then more pictures with mine with its hood up and an easel in front. Then even more pictures with my friend's with its hood up, him laying in the engine compartment and me taking pictures of him with a camera. Soon enough his mom let us know it was time for the monthly HOA meeting. Of course all three of us had to go in person to protest the fines. So the motley pair of us show up along with his mom, and his mom's stack of fine notices. I bring along my engine drawing, and we printed some of my friend's boudoir engine photos larger than normal. After a while it was new business time, and my friend's mom steps up. I'm pretty sure they expected her to play them. My son and his friend are morons, please make these fines go away since I didn't know what they were doing. Sympathy card. Nope, not a chance. She politely but firmly attested that she was being sent fines for something that wasn't in the bylaws, and asked the board to stop. One of the board members spoke up saying that working on cars was against the bylaws, and clearly that's what was going on since both hoods were up. Oh, you should have seen their faces when she corrected them that the bylaw said no repairs were allowed, that there were no repairs going on in any of the pictures since no tools were visible, and that we were just doing art projects for school. Even longer faces were seen when she showed my, truthfully completely terrible, drawing of my engine, along with the date stamped a couple weeks ago pictures. This was back when film cameras stamped a date directly on the picture, of my friend trying to seduce his engine. The HOA president called for a 5-minute recess, during which the board huddled in a corner of the room. After the recess, the president succinctly said, we are going to dismiss all your fines. Have a nice evening. We damn near danced out of that meeting. Being the obnoxious shitheads that my friend and I were, we had to do the drawing/photo routine a few more times just to make sure they weren't going to start sending more fines. They wisely didn't, and being victorious we soon found other ways to annoy them. Dr. HOA forbids repairing your car in your driveway. Friend and I decided to draw my engine and take photos of my friend on top of his instead. Chef places the wrong order but doesn't listen. Alrighty then, by user correcteth people. I used to manage a high-volume single-location restaurant in the Bay Area. I was assistant manager there, front of house. We had a chef at the time who was extremely hard-headed, even by chef standards. He made mistakes all the time but always had an excuse and never wanted any criticism. I was in charge of ordering for the front of house and bar, and he was in charge of ordering for the kitchen. We ordered a lot of things from the same supplier so we could see each other's items in the order before it got finalized. One day, I'm going through the order to see if I missed any of what I needed. I noticed there's 20 cases of red onions. We don't carry red onions, but frequently order small quantity of things for private events with specific menu items. I assume he meant 20 red onions, by the each. So I called him up to clarify before changing it. Me, hey, good evening, I think you added too much onions to the order, it should be. Chef, why are you telling me what I need? You don't know what I need. I know what I need, leave it alone and don't call me on my day off. Cue malicious compliance. He's off Sunday and Monday, this is Sunday. I leave it alone, and the order auto-submits for next day delivery. Since deliveries come in Monday morning, the person who signs for it is usually a prep cook, not anyone in a decision-making role. So I know that the 20 cases will very likely be accepted, since the kitchen staff knows not to bother the chef on his days off. I roll in around 1 p.m. to close, and there's 20 cases of onions just packed anywhere there's room. Each case, for context, is about 2 by 1 by 1. It's ridiculous. I say nothing, and continue running the shift. My GM was pissed when he finds out we have 20 cases of an ingredient we don't carry, when in fact my intuition was correct and we needed about 20 onions for a private event later that week. Chef never said a word about it to me, but he's not chef there anymore, which is for the best. Do your job. Okay, Karen, by user NothiGoldenKild616. I originally posted this in Fuck You Karen, but someone seemed to imply it'd be a good fit for you guys. So enjoy this lovely exchange from Monday. So, I work in online fulfillment at a large home, garden, and building supply store. Mysterious, my job title comes into play later, as technically we aren't supposed to work with customers directly, just point them in the right direction or find another associate who works in that department. I had a massive order to grab, several heavy and large pieces of sheet metal and screws. Problem is, the sheet metal size I need isn't where it's meant to be, so I'm having to scan pretty much everything to figure out what's what. Bigger problem? This lingering in the wild sadly put me in range of a wild Karen attack. Wild Karen, raging harpy voice, are you gonna help me or not? Yours truly, suddenly very confused, looking at her, especially as she hasn't spoken to me at all. Wild Karen, increasingly annoyed, seeming well. I've been standing over there for forever and you haven't offered to help me. Yours truly, my bad. I can try. I don't work in this department, so it depends if. Wild Karen, suddenly actively hostile, try? Ugh. No, you will. It doesn't matter if you work in this department or not. Yours truly, taking calming breaths so I don't lash back. wondering what this woman's problem is. Okay, what do you need? Definitely unable to control annoyance in my tone as this woman is yelling at me. Wild Karen, this. Not joking when I say proceeds to suddenly pull out a screw and nearly stab me in the eye, shoving it towards me. Yours truly, pushes her hand away, feeling much less calm as I have a PTSD reaction to people putting hands in my face, much less a feckin' screw, now visibly shaking. Okay, ma'am, screws are at the end of this aisle, on the left. What? Wild Karen, I already know that. Yours angrily, okay, what size is that? What size do you need? Wild Karen, even angrier for some reason you tell me. Takes a step closer as if trying to seem threatening. Yours angrily, unable to hold back. I have no clue, ma'am. There's an entire wall of screws. It's impossible for me to tell its size by just looking at it. Wild Karen, you will not come at me like that. Says me like she's royal and I should feel afraid, your manager would not like that. Yours no longer jivin' gofuckly, ya think? Well, I can get a manager if you'd like. Maybe one of them can identify the screw by sight. Wild Karen, don't make me mad today. Just do your job. Q. What could count as malicious compliance? Yours fecking governthistly, asterisk realizes I had already told her exactly where the product she needed would be located. Yes, ma'am. I walked away from her to my trolley, and proceeded to continue looking for the items on my order. Wild Karen, what are you doing? Yours freely, my job. What was funny was, an aisle over, one of our assistant managers actually was nearby. With Karen ranting and stomping like a toddler, I walked over when I noticed him and told him I had two issues. 1. Can't find the item. 2. Got Karen he may want to talk to. He laughed and showed me where the correct size sheet metal improperly was, and totally ignored her, same as I was, until she huffed loudly and stormed away. I don't think she liked that my manager did like how I handled the situation. Don't let your kid have consequences? Okay, by user Senior Motor 2647. So I'm a 2-3F nanny. For the family I work for there are 7 kids. Yes, 7. All ranging from 14 years old to 10 months old. I have been working for them for 8 months. And never really had an issue. They are a good family for the most part. A key part here is the kids are all homeschooled so they do not get out a lot. Unfortunately that leads to mom and dad spoiling them quite a lot. And since I've started had a bit of a discipline issue. They throw tantrums, throw things, and scream a lot. Finally mom recently put on discipline because their tantrums led to me getting an injury. I was pushed down the stairs. So she implemented a timeout routine. And it was going well for almost everyone. Here is where the story truly begins. The second to youngest at 2.5 almost 3. His tantrums are some of the worst and instead of really disciplining him she coddles. If he screams and yells she just picks him up and gives him whatever he wants. He will also throw things and hit whoever is telling him no. And mom doesn't do anything. On Wednesday this week mom had an appointment and when he woke up from his nap and she wasn't there he freaked out. I tried to calm by playing games, food, or reading books. But nothing worked, he just got louder and more aggressive. He even hit me and his siblings. Eventually he woke the baby and when I got her tried to even hurt her. So with no other real options working to calm him down. I pick him up, sit him on his bed and said time out, you do not behave this way. When you calm down you can come out. He finally is calming down after several minutes and mom comes home. She was quite upset that he got a timeout because she says that he is too young and doesn't know better. Now I understand he is young but I've been a nanny for a while and I have learned 2 to 3 is normal age for discipline so they learn to know better. I only do a minute per year age and only goes longer if they can't calm down though I check in every minute. She was also upset I used his room as a timeout. Now that part I get and can understand that at this age associating timeout with where he sleeps. I can agree we don't do that. But I had to ask when he's acting like this, what do you want me to do? She said let me handle it. If I'm not there give him what he wants, it's not worth the fight. Okay, but what if it's something I can't give? She replied if you can't just let him go through it he'll calm down quickly. I looked at her like are you serious? You do realize how he can be right? But okay. Cue malicious compliance. The next day mom had another appointment and she was gone when he woke up. And of course he wanted her and only her. I said sorry she's not here, why don't we play a game? He screams no. I ask if he wants a snack. No, he screams and starts slapping at my hands. I ask to go read a book or go to his siblings' room for playtime. He screams again and hit me in the face. I told him please don't hit me. So he screams in my face and goes off throwing things at me and everyone around and just goes off. I tell everyone to go to their rooms. I tried everything to calm him down and it didn't work, so I did exactly what she told me. Absolutely nothing. He continues his tirade, throwing things, pulling things off shelves, and screaming. I obviously kept him from things that would hurt him like glass, ceramics, and when he got on a table to push something I picked him up and put him down. Though he did bite me really hard when I did that. Not enough to bleed but enough to leave a good mark. I let this go for about 15-ish minutes until mom came home. And when she did, he was still freaking out. She just goes, "What is going on?" I explained the situation and told her I'm just doing what she said and letting him cry it out till he calms down. She said that's not what I meant. I asked what did you want? She didn't really have an answer. I told her I couldn't use discipline and I couldn't calm him. You said to let him go, he'd calm down, and he hasn't yet. I made sure anything dangerous was taken away, but I didn't know what else I could do. Now respectively I could have picked up what he threw around, but I wanted her to see what he was capable of. And I wasn't going to risk getting hurt again from taking things away. She looked upset but didn't say anything and just looked at him, still throwing his tantrum. The baby wakes up and she goes to get her. When she comes back to try and calm him, he screams to pick him up and he hits her and keeps going till she puts the crying baby on the ground and picks him up. I was kinda shocked she fed into it. I told her he's old enough to know what he's doing. He knows that he'll get what he wants when he does these things, and it's only going to get worse. And if it's going to continue, I'm going to continue to do nothing because I won't risk getting hurt or the other kids in the process. I showed her my bite mark and she went pale a bit and said he did that. I said yes he did. She took a breath and said, why don't you go home for the day and I'll talk to Dad about this. When I came to work this morning there was a timeout chair for him. And I'm allowed to use it at my discretion. Edit. So I will say, because I told in the comments I only get paid $22 an hour and it is low. I am quitting this job soon. Or rather I already did. My last week is in May. I promised I'd stay till then and then I have a much better paying job backed up. And yes, I did get extra pay for the stairs incident, not the bite but yes for the stairs.